listening to the Holy Bible 1-Year Challenge with Master Storyteller Michael Wood, featuring the easy-to-read version and used by permission from Bible League International. Enjoy the show!
Hello everyone, welcome to day 18. We're continuing in the book of Genesis. We will give a detailed listing of Esau's descendants, which are the beginnings of many kingdoms and provinces and cities that emerge in the ancient world. And then we will begin the narrative of Joseph, Jacob's 11th son. Remember, the first son, born to Rachel, who Jacob, now named Israel, worked hard for. Joseph has some very interesting dreams, and the fact that he's favored by dad makes his other brothers a bit jealous. But they take their jealousy far, as you see what they do to their poor little brother. We're also continuing in the New Testament. Jesus gives more parables. He doesn't explain all of them, but he does give an explanation to the one we heard in Matthew 13 about the farmer planting seeds. These aren't like Aesop's fables, where they teach a silly little moral at the end, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Those sort of lessons we reserve for a book like Proverbs, short little truths. No, Jesus' stories are much bigger than that. They teach spiritual truths, talking about the relationship between man, God, and the coming kingdom. These are eternal truths that provide clues into the afterlife and what it means to be a follower of Christ. If you enjoy the show, visit me at patreon.com/storymaster. You'll find the link in the description box below. By contributing as little as $1 per month, you will enable me to continue this ministry, and you'll get cool rewards too. Together, we're going to get through the Bible in 1 year. Let's get started. Genesis chapter 36. Esau's family. This is the record of Esau, also known as Edom. Esau married women from the land of Canaan. His wives were Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the son of Zibeon the Hivite, and Basemath, Ishmael's daughter. She is the sister of Nebaioth. Esau and Adah had a son named Eliphaz. Basemath had a son named Reuel. Oholibamah had 3 sons, Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These were Esau's sons who were born in the land of Canaan. Jacob and Esau had so much wealth, especially livestock, that the land where they were could not support them all. So Esau, who is also known as Edom, moved far away from his brother Jacob. He took his wives, sons, daughters, all his people, cattle and other animals, and everything else he had gained in Canaan, and moved to the hill country of Seir. This is the record of Esau's descendants, the Edomites, who live in the hill country of Seir. Esau and Adah's son was Eliphaz. Esau and Basemath's son was Reuel. Eliphaz had 5 sons, Taman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Eliphaz also had a slave woman named Timnah. Timnah and Eliphaz had a son named Amalek. Reuel had 4 sons, Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were Esau's grandsons from his wife Basemath. Esau's 3rd wife was Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the son of Zibeon. Esau and Oholibamah's children were Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These are the family leaders that came from Esau. Esau's first son was Eliphaz. From Eliphaz came Taman, Omar, Zepho, Kenaz, Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. All these family leaders in the land of Edom came from Esau's wife Adah. Esau's son Reuel was the father of these family leaders, Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. All these family leaders in the land of Edom came from Esau's wife Basemath. Esau's wife, Oholibamah, daughter of Anah, gave birth to Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These 3 men were the leaders of their families. These sons of Esau, who was also known as Edom, were leaders of the families descended from him. Seir's family. Seir, a Horite man, lived in Edom before Esau. These are the sons of Seir: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. These sons were all Horite family leaders from Seir and Edom. Lotan was the father of Hori and Haman. Lotan's sister was Timnah. Shobal was the father of Alvan, Mahamath, Abel, Shepho, and Onan. Zibeon had two sons, Aya and Anah. Anah is the man who found the springs in the desert while he was caring for his father's donkeys. Anah was the father of Dishon and Aholibamah. Dishon had four sons. They were Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Keran. Ezer had three sons. They were Bilhan, Zavan, and Achan. Dishon had two sons. They were Us and Aran. These are the names of the leaders of the Horite families: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. These men were the leaders of the families that lived in the country of Seir. The kings of Edom. At that time, there were kings in Edom. Edom had kings a long time before the Israelites did. Bela, son of Beor, was a king who ruled in Edom from the city of Dinhaba. When Bela died, Jobab, son of Zerah, became king. Zerah was from the town of Basra. When Jobab died, Husham became king. He was from the land of the Temanites. When Husham died, Hadad, son of Bedad, became king and ruled from the city of Avith. He defeated the Midianites in the country of Moab. When Hadad died, Samlah became king. He was from Masrekah. When Samlah died, Shaul became king. He was from Rehoboth, a city by the Euphrates River. When Shaul died, Baal-Hanan became king. He was the son of Akbor. When Baal-Hanan died, Hadad became king and ruled from the city of Pau. His wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, who was the daughter of Mezahah. The Edomite families were descended from Esau, who was also known as Edom. These were their family leaders: Timnah, Alva, Japheth, Aholibamah, Elah, Canaan, Kenaz, Taman, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Iram. The area where each of these families lived was given the name of that family. Genesis chapter 37. Joseph the dreamer. Jacob lived in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived. This is the story of his family. When Jacob's son Joseph was 17 years old, he and his brothers took care of the sheep and the goats. He was a helper for the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives. Joseph told his father that his brothers were doing some bad things. Joseph was born when his father was very old, so Jacob, now also known as Israel, loved him more than his other sons. Jacob gave him a very special coat. When the brothers saw that their father loved Joseph more than he loved them, they hated their brother and never said anything nice to him. One night, Joseph had a dream. When he told his brothers about it, they hated him even more. Here's what he said. "Let me tell you about this dream I had. We were all working in the field, tying stalks of wheat together into bundles. My bundle stood up, and all your bundles came together in a circle around mine and bowed down to it." His brother said,
"You really think this means you will be a king and rule over us?"
They now hated Joseph even more because of his dream and what he said about it. Then Joseph had another dream, and he told his brothers about it. He said, "Let me tell you about another dream I had. I saw the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down to me." When Joseph told his father about this dream, his father was upset with him. He said,
"What kind of dream is this? And do you think your mother, your brothers, and I will all bow down to you?"
Joseph's brothers continued to be jealous of him. his father thought about all these things and wondered what they could mean. One day, Joseph's brothers went to Shechem to let their father's sheep eat the grass in the fields there. Israel said to Joseph,
Go to Shechem. Your brothers are there with my sheep.
Joseph answered, I will go. His father said,
Go and see if your brothers and the flocks are all right, and then come back and tell me how they are doing.
So Joseph's father sent him from the valley of Hebron to Shechem. At Shechem, a man saw Joseph wandering in the fields as if he was looking for something. The man said, What are you looking for? Joseph answered, I am looking for my brothers. Can you tell me where they have taken their sheep? The man said, They have already left. I heard them say they were going to Dothan. So Joseph went to Dothan and found his brothers there. Joseph's brothers saw him coming from far away and began making plans to kill him. They said to each other,
Here comes Joseph, the dreamer. Let's kill him and throw his body into one of the empty wells here. We could tell our father that a wild animal killed him. That should put an end to those dreams of his.
But when Reuben heard this plan, he tried to find a way to save Joseph. He said,
Let's not kill him. There is no need to spill any blood. We can just put him into one of these dry wells out here in the desert. We don't have to hurt him ourselves.
Reuben planned to return later so he could save Joseph and send him back to his father. So when Joseph reached his brothers, they stripped off his special coat. Then they threw him into a dry, empty well. When the brothers sat down to eat, they looked up and saw a group of traders on their way from Gilead to Egypt. Their camels were carrying different kinds of spices, balm, and myrrh. So Judah said to his brothers,
What profit will we get if we kill our brother and keep his death a secret? If we sell him to these traders, we will not have to do him any harm. This would be better because he is our own brother, one of our own family.
The other brothers agreed. So when the Midianite traders came by, the brothers took Joseph out of the well and sold him to the traders for 20 pieces of silver. The traders took him to Egypt. When Reuben came back to the well, he saw that Joseph was not there. He tore his clothes to show he was upset. Then he went to his brothers and said,
The boy is not in the well. What will I do now?
The brothers killed a goat and dipped Joseph's coat in its blood. Then they took the coat to their father and said,
We found this coat. Look at it and see if it's Joseph's.
Jacob saw that it was Joseph's coat. He said,
Yes, this is his. It looks like a wild animal killed him. I'm sure Joseph has been torn to pieces.
Jacob tore his clothes and put on rags to show his sorrow. He continued to mourn for his son for a long time. All Jacob's sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. He said,
The sorrow I feel for my son will be with me until the day I die.
So Jacob cried for his son Joseph. The Midianite traders later sold Joseph in Egypt. They sold him to Potiphar, an officer of the king of Egypt and the captain of the palace guard. Matthew chapter 13, verses 18 to 35. Jesus explains the story about seed. So listen to the meaning of that story about the farmer. What about the seed that fell on the path? That is like the people who hear the teaching about God's kingdom, but do not understand it. The evil one comes and takes away what was planted in their hearts. And what about the seed that fell on rocky ground? That is like the people who are happy to hear the teaching and accept it at once, but they do not let the teaching go deep into their lives. They keep it only a short time. As soon as trouble or persecution comes because of the teaching they accepted, they give up. And what about the seed that fell among the thorny weeds? That is like people who hear the teaching, but let worries of this life and love for money slow its growth, so it does not produce good results in their lives. What about the seed that fell on the good ground? That is like the people who hear the teaching and understand it. They grow and produce a good crop, sometimes 100 times more, sometimes 60 times more, and sometimes 30 times more. A story about wheat and wheat. Then Jesus used another story to teach them, and Jesus said, God's kingdom is like a man who planted good seed in his field. That night, while everyone was asleep, an enemy came and planted weeds among the wheat and then left. Later, the wheat grew and heads of grain grew on the plants. But at the same time, the weeds also grew. Then the owner's servants came to him and said, You planted good seed in your field. Where did the weeds come from? The owner answered, An enemy planted weeds. The servants asked, Do you want us to go and pull up the weeds? He answered, No, because when you pull up the weeds, you might also pull up the wheat. Let the weeds and the wheat grow together until the harvest time. At that time, I will tell the workers, Gather the weeds and tie them together to be burned. Then gather the wheat and bring it to my barn. Another kingdom story. Then Jesus told the people another story. God's kingdom is like a mustard seed that someone planted in a field. It is the smallest of all seeds, but it grows bigger than all the other garden plants. It becomes a tree, big enough for birds to come and make nests in its branches. Jesus also told them another story. God's kingdom is like yeast that a woman uses to make bread. She mixes just a little yeast into a large amount of flour. The yeast makes all the dough rise. Jesus used stories to tell all these things to the people. He always used stories to teach them. This was to make clear the full meaning of what the prophet said. I will speak using stories. I will tell things that have been secrets since the world was made. Psalm chapter 10, verses 12 to 18. Lord, get up and do something. Punish those who are wicked, God. Don't forget those who are poor and helpless. The wicked turn against God because they think he will not punish them. But Lord, you do see the pain and suffering they cause. You see it, so you will punish them. Those who were left helpless put their trust in you. After all, you are the one who cares for orphans. Break the arms of those who are wicked and evil. Punish them for the evil they have done and stop them from doing any more. Lord, you are king forever and ever, so I know you will remove the wicked nations from your land. Lord, you hear what the poor want. You will listen to their prayers and give them hope. You defend orphans and all who are abused. No one on earth will be able to terrify the helpless again. Thank you, everyone. That was day 18. Join us for day 19. Joseph isn't the only one who left home. Judah leaves home, and we hear about the tragedies that befall him and his sons. And we hear about Tamar, who pretends she's a temple prostitute, but must find a way to save herself from being burned alive. In the meanwhile, we hear about Joseph and his days of slavery in Egypt. And in the New Testament, Jesus has more stories and explanations for us. And then he goes back to his hometown. What do people think of Jesus? We hope you enjoyed today's verses. Be sure to leave us a positive review and to share this podcast with your friends and family. Please join us for the next episode as we experience the Bible in 1 year.
Did you know we offer online courses in creative writing, literature, and web design?
Visit us at storymaster.online to learn more.